Down to the final 20 overs of the league phase, and 197 is what RCB have got. A drama delayed start at the Chinnaswamy, where they've at least got a score on the board. It's what decides whether they will make that fourth spot, and the Mumbai Indians will be watching in case they don't, and they could sneak in. So all to discuss as Virat Kohli registers back-to-back hundreds and manages 101 of the 197 that his team have got. So he's got more than half the runs. We'll see what that score stands like on what looks like a wet outfield in Bangalore. This is Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time, or Deep Dasgupta and Tom Moody to give us their 2 bits on the score. Let's start with you, Deep. 197 first up. It looked like RCB were very happy and they were celebrating the 100. It was a superb 100, but how is that score for you?
I think they've left a few out there. Another maybe 10 odd runs, it seems. Because, listen, as you mentioned, it's a wet outfield. We saw it in the first innings, not much swing. The moment it goes, the first ball or first 2 balls, it goes to the outfield, the ball's going to start behaving differently. And that's where we saw Mohit kind of struggling with that wet ball with all his variations and also. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for the RCB bowlers to defend this. Yeah, but it's still a good score.
Tom, 197.
Yeah, I think it's below par. With all the conditions into consideration, which Deep touched on, wet outfield, we know it's a small ground, and the ball just skidded off, didn't it? Once it went out there, and we're going to see the ball skid onto the bat in that second innings in particular. I would have thought that they would have be thinking sort of in that range of 210 to 220. Particularly now, the way the trend of this IPL, you know, you would have looked at me stupidly last year if I said the same thing, but the trend of this IPL, and particularly at a venue like this, you need to add 20 runs to what we previously have talked about because of the impact sub and also the surfaces have all been very good, or in most cases been very good. I just looked down on the strike rates on all those batters. You know, Virat played a magnificent innings, you know, it's a great 100. But when you have 100 like that, you hope that you have 2 or 3, minimum 2, real impact innings, where it may only be 20 runs or 30 runs, but they're impact innings of a strike rate of over 200 to support that brilliant innings. And there was only one that was over 200, which was Maxwell, which was a 5-ball 11. So that's where I think the missing 20 runs is someone really catching fire. We nearly saw it with Bracewell. He got 26 off 16, strike rate of 160. But if that was 26 off 10, that's where I think you know that we're missing that over.
Yeah, between say the rest of the supporting cast, someone had to get what Jitesh Sharma has done at times, or
Kohli's done everything he possibly could. You know, it was a brilliant innings, but it's just needed that impact at the other end.
All right, we'll come to why they couldn't find that from the supporting cast, but let's talk about the protagonist, shall we? Virat Kohli, 101 on return to the Chinnaswamy. As good an innings as he could have played, and very good 100 given all the circumstances, high pressure game, etc., etc.
That was a classic Kohli, wasn't it? You know, just soaking up the pressure and loving the big stage. All great players do it, don't they? You know, they perform when it really counts, and you know, it's a stage that he enjoys in front of you know, his home crowd that you know, chanting his name from the first ball to the last. So you know, he put on a bit of a show for him.
There's nothing like we haven't seen before, but I'm just thinking now, regardless of the result and whether RCB go on or not, what an important IPL for Virat Kohli, the batter, with all sorts of conversations around his T20 future. This has injected almost renewed belief about his quality in the shortest format, which has often been a point of discussion.
Absolutely. I mean, first half of the season, even though his approach in the first 6 has changed, he's striking a lot higher in the first 6, but then again there were questions of him against spin. But I think last 2 innings, we could see that even after the first 6, after the power play, he's kept going. He hasn't stopped after the first 6, and 2 back-to-back hundreds. Now I think he's the highest number of centuries in IPL now, I guess. Number 7 for him. But yeah, I mean, again, fabulous innings, kind of flawless. He did not look like he was struggling or had an issue with any particular bowler. And very smart in how he played out a few overs, especially Rashid on once the wicket had fallen, those, you know, consecutively. He was pretty smart in kind of attacking the right bowlers and managing the whole innings.
It's the upside of focusing it on, say, 3 main players, isn't it, Tom? If you get that kind of innings, if they end up on the right side of the result here, because you lost Faf and you lost Maxwell inside 9 overs. And we've known it's been a story throughout the season that the rest of the middle order has not quite had the impact. What you need then is the guy who is there to do exactly that. And maybe we criticize them for their approach, but full credit to Kohli that in a tough game he's ensured they have something. Otherwise they could have been 70 below par.
Yeah. I don't think we criticise their approach. Their approach is basically we criticise or question their squad balance.
Yeah.
You know, with the 3, they rely on 3 terrific players, and then it's fallen away. And I think that dip that we talk about in the depth of quality in their batting is the point I'm making about the 20 runs they're short. You know, Dinesh Karthik's gone missing this IPL. We've hardly seen anything like. But last year, that's what he would have done. He would have gone out there, had his 10 balls or 15 balls, and scored an amazing 35. You know, down on one leg, sweeping people for 6, which he did last year. So, yeah, look, it's as I said, it's a below par score in my view, but it's also we need to recognise. I don't think this is by far the best attack either on offer. The Titans, you know, haven't got Hardik Pandya bowling. I don't think they got the selection right. You know, whether it was Joseph or Little, I think you know one of them had to play in this game, and I think that it may look different come Tuesday. This Titans balance.
I can't help but think that that's a fair point. Given we think their strength is they're a good side batting bowling, but when you have Mohit Sharma not having conditions in his favour, and you have Yash Dayal back into this team, that there are suddenly holes in the bowling attack.
Yeah, I mean, let's say come Tuesday, you'd see Hardik bowl as well. So that kind of gives him a little more elbow room.
Massive.
Yeah. So he will at least bowl 2-3 with a new ball, and then you can play around with your bowlers. You'll see Alzari coming back as well. Or they've gone in with 3 overseas, right?
No, they've got their 4.
Oh, they have Dasun as well.
So yeah, they got Sharnak. So they're going with Sharnak. So that's where I think they've probably loaded their batting, which you know they'll probably appreciate chasing 197, but. I think for the perfect balance, I think a Josh Little or a Joseph in for Shanaka is probably the better balance.
Yeah,
and again, going to Chennai or Ahmedabad, it'll suit, let's say, bowlers like Shanaka, and even if Shanaka does play, it'll help Mohit, Shanaka, those kind of bowlers as well.
I have this recurring discussion when we do international games on Sri Lanka as to why Dasun Shanaka doesn't bowl himself. It seems like they're putting him in his comfort spot by not bowling him here either. Is a good enough bowler to give you 1 or 2 on a certain day, or is that not an option at the Chinnaswamy and grounds like this?
Yeah, I think he's definitely not a 4-over bowler. He's your 6th, 7th option. You know, he's a good finisher, a good power hitter that gives you 1 or 2 overs if conditions suit.
Yeah, and that's where I was a little surprised that around that 10th, 11th over, just sneak in an over. Sneak in an over of Dasun or someone, and then you don't have to, you're not kind of, you know, bound to get Dayal or Mohit, everyone else, their quota of 4. Just sneak in. So I'm a big fan of, you know, a 6 bowling option, sneak in an over here and there, then you kind of sorted.
Do you sense in any way that the way Gujarat managed their bowlers or went about these 20 overs, it was a team that's saying, yeah, we just bowl our 5 bowlers 4 overs, given the result doesn't really matter to us?
Oh, no, I think they would want to win.
In a good way, though. That we don't need to be doing that today. Today, let's give our bowlers 4 overs, you know, regardless of what kind of day they're having.
Well, I don't disagree with what Deep's saying. I think that they had the resources there, whether it was Tuatia, whether it was Dasun, you know, to change it up. And I always sort of take the philosophy when you're bowling from a captaincy point of view or a coach's point of view, you know, who's going to be the biggest threat in the next over. So you look at your bowling resources, because when you're in the field, all that counts is wickets. So who is your biggest threat? Bearing in mind you need to keep, you know, 3 or 4 overs of certain bowlers at the back end. But apart from that, who's my biggest threat? Who's going to give us the wicket? And look at your options that way, and don't just sort of be hamstrung to a certain formula, certain personnel. You know, that changes from day to day. Some people have a day out, some people don't have a day out.
It looks like the Afghan spin twin threat is here to stay, even if they're playing at the Chinnaswamy. If you have 8 overs on 63 and 3 wickets, with 2 of those being Faf and Maxwell, you sense Noor Ahmed now is very much part of the core group, Tom?
Yeah, great combination, aren't they? You know, it's it's a great variety to have, and there's a lot of similarities too with the speed they bowl, apart from, you know, they're bowling with a different arm. And as I've mentioned in the pre-show, you know, you couldn't get a better combination together, because Noor is going to benefit enormously playing alongside Rashid Khan, who's, you know, the absolute master at the craft.
You would have enjoyed that stumping to Lomro?
Oh, that was priceless, isn't it? That was so good. Down the leg side, you know, blind side, plus it was a quicker delivery.
I mean, it's tough to keep to these guys when they bowl a friendly line, I'm thinking, to a keeper.
I mean, he's quick, it was flat, and obviously he saw him coming out, so he fired it further down the leg side and fired it quick as well. Riddhi, he's just brilliant.
All right, we're expecting one of Vijay Shankar or Abhinav Manohar. You think the likelier option is Shankar with the kind of form he's shown? Manohar's also fallen out of favour when they decided to go back to Sai Sudarshan. But Vijay Shankar, the likelier impact sub, Deep?
Yes, I think so. I mean, the kind of form that he's in, and the role that they want Vijay Shankar to play, or somebody to play at number 4, number 5, come out and kind of stroke freely, which Vijay Shankar has done really well this season. So I won't be surprised if it's Vijay Shankar.
As far as RCB go, let's have a look at their options. Now, we know Vaishak was part of the starting 11, so too was Siraj. So Himanshu Sharma was mentioned as being given his debut. Is there any reason to reconsider that? A young rookie leg spinner. They have Akash Deep that they could bring in potentially as a seam bowler, but the leg eater perhaps come in, Tom?
Well, I think given that they've made the commitment to leave out Karan Sharma, that would be the obvious choice, and it gives them that variety as well, so they're not predictable as a bowling unit.
And they have enough cover as well. If you look at bowling options, you have Siraj, Vaishak, Panel, Harshal, your 4 seam-up bowlers. Then you have Bracewell and Glenn Maxwell as your 2 other, you know, spinners as such. So they have enough kind of bowling options. Even if he does come and he doesn't have a good, you know, outing or first odd over, you have enough guys to fill it up then.
Do you sense that their bowling will make a challenge out of this?
Yes, definitely. I mean, Siraj's obviously, you know, first spell is going to be very, very important. But again, looking at the conditions and all, I mean, listen, I mean, 190, 197 is at times best of Chinnaswamy conditions isn't enough. It's difficult to defend. But with wettish outfield, it's going to be that much more difficult.
You were also making a point before we went on air that if Mohit Sharma hasn't had a good day, does that tell you something of how...
Harshal, I mean, we're very similar, I mean, if in their skill sets. And Mohit, we saw, I mean, on these conditions, you were expecting, you know, with Mohit with his skill set might not be at his best. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Harshal does.
Himanshu Sharma is on, so that solves it. Cap 159 is what I've spotted. I hope he's not wearing someone else's cap. So he'll be the 159th player to represent RCB in the IPL. Prediction, Tom Moody.
I think that we're going to see Gujarat chase these down.
Okay, Deep.
I'm going to go with Tom.
You sense if they have a chance, it has to be Siraj, knocking a few early.
Yeah, oh look, he's been classy. He went missing for a couple of games, but outside of that, he's in power plays a handful.
Tell you what, it's game 70, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already a late night. We've not had a super over yet.
Why not?
The Chinnaswamy
day off tomorrow.
We might as well embrace it. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
If I found a little more acceptance for my nonsense, perhaps we would have had it. So let's have a little more, you know, open-mindedness from the two of you, and let's get a super over in tonight.
Let's do it.
Why not?
Why not? Day off tomorrow.
Excellent. Deep Dasgupta and Tom Moody have a day off tomorrow. They're ready to stay here till tomorrow if we do get that super over. So let's hope it's a thrilling finish to what's been an outstanding league phase of the IPL 2023. But their more astute minds tell them that GT should get these given RCB have fallen a few short. Well, RCB fans will be hoping it's enough. Mumbai fans will be hoping Gujarat chase this. So all to discuss at the end of match 70 on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time. Now download the mobile app. It'll have you covered for ball-by-ball updates. Let's hope the weather doesn't come into the equation at all in the second innings. Just got one more inning. Come on, Bangalore, give us clear skies for a couple of hours, and it should make for a fascinating discussion as we confirm the playoffs at the end of the show. Join us then.